Why it's good with learning to build a robust framework overall, learning to move towards unconditional self-life, other acceptance, learning to get a better understanding of OCD, learning to distance ourselves, key point, distance ourselves with the thoughts and the sensations, so that we're learning to become an observer of our thoughts, not in that internal fight and struggle to get rid. So there's all these elements. Now, along the journey, your friends and so on are going to be doing different things. Like one person may have gone and done a retreat in Thailand and done loads of meditation, loads of exercise, and maybe they had milder OCD and they feel great. And we can quickly then, oh my God, I'm so much worse. No, that's worked for them so far. They're doing well, or they're going through a period, they're doing well. And the same in the OCD community amongst people similar to you doing the same sort of journey, which is, okay, they're improving, they're doing well, that's good for them. And you're going through a difficult part and vice versa. And we do a lot of comparison. Am I as bad as them? Am I better than them? All these different things going on. Now, what you want to look at is you want to look at overall, like everything that we do here is about giving people a knowledge of learning to see the world more rationally, learning to see life as it is in reality without the irrational beliefs, as well as learning to distance ourselves from the anxiety thoughts and the OCD, as well as all the other points that I said, learning to have more of an understanding of OCD and so on. So it's general, it's information without some secret method. Now, with doubting and with OCD, it's a case of learning to see how your brain goes into that cycle, because your brain can just go into that in terms of, for example, if I'm eating these M&Ms and I had a fear in the past when I used to suffer from OCD relating to food, it would literally be like this. I'd get this M&M, I'd eat it, and then it would go, what if you've suddenly developed a nut allergy the second? Or what if you've been working out just before, or you've been a bit anxious, and now you have a really strong reaction to eating that nut, your throat swells up and you die. I'd be convinced my whole throat was swelling up. I used to call out ambulances. I used to go to hospital, and I used to be utterly convinced of this. Now, as I was saying about the doubting disorder and becoming so convinced, we're also very good at convincing others about our problems. So I'd go to the doctor. I remember getting an ambulance out one time. It was at 4 a.m. I called an ambulance. I don't like to do that. I didn't like to do that usually because harm OCD used to get into that as well, and used to always think like someone else could be dying if you take this ambulance out, so I only take it out for a very, very serious thing. So I didn't do the ambulance so regularly, but I went to A&E loads and doctors loads. I mean, that was a lot of health OCD there. And one time I got an ambulance, came out, and I remember sitting there, and I went downstairs in my building, and there was a reception, and at the door, but where there was the guy on reception there, he was sort of looking at me, because I obviously my appearance was, no one would have ever told I had anxiety. And I thought, I'm going to have to let my guard down a bit here. He's going to see this, but he's going to think I'm ill anyway, so I won't really lose face. I was scared of what other people thought of me at that time. An ambulance came, and I remember I was saying like my whole throat's swelling up, and they completely believed it. Even though they couldn't see it, they started to believe it all because of how I was saying it, and because we describe it in such a descriptive way. It's the same as OCD sufferers are going to the doctor and to the GP. Often the way they explain their illnesses with all the sort of Latin names for a particular thing they're suffering from, the doctor becomes completely convinced that that is the thing they're suffering from, that is the problem, and like really gets into that. And that's what happened there. I was so convincing. I went to the hospital. They gave me loads of drugs to calm, like to calm my, not to calm my body, but like to help with the allergy, lots of steroids and stuff. And I wasn't having anything. It was like just eating that nut and just having that sensation, having that sensation, allergy. And God, that would be funny, wouldn't it? If from OCD, if I actually did develop an allergy now on Instagram Live and died. Oh, and actually, that's another one with magical thinking. I wouldn't have liked to have done this in the past, and a lot of people wouldn't like to do this. I hope I die now from a nut allergy on this Instagram Live and suffocate to death on the floor alone in this apartment. I wouldn't have liked to have done those ones, because I used to think, God, that means it's definitely going to come true. Especially ones relating to family, like to say out loud or something bad happening to my family or something like that. I wouldn't have liked to have done that. Now imagine if I actually did die now after that thing, how many OCD sufferers would be completely convinced in magical thinking, and that would be a story that people would remember. So let's hope it doesn't happen.